news last night that I could not wait till Tuesday to discuss. Shohei Ohtani, who went 6 for 6 last night, 10 RBIs, and he is now officially a part of the 50-50 club, 50 homers, 50 stolen bases in a season. Now, you guys know that I have always said when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, I'll be real. I have never really bought into the hype. I never thought that he could pitch and hit at the same level consistently. And I think I've sort of been proven right on that because of the fact that obviously he's recovering from an injury. He has not pitched this year, but obviously, as a hitter, right, he's absolutely incredible. And I've never denied that. I've never denied the talent. The only thing I've denied is it sustainable? Guys in the 80s and 90s could do it, but they weren't throwing as hard as guys do today, where it feels like almost every pitcher can get it up to 100 miles per hour. So, with that being said, when I look at Ohtani, and I know, my good friend of the show, Andy Z, that's come on here a few times, he loves baseball. I know my good buddy Sean Fitzgerald, who is now a part of Voltage Live. Of course, he comes on. We talk a lot of baseball with him because I call him our baseball aficionado. They tell me all the time how great Shohei Ohtani is, how he is the best player in the sport, and I've always pushed back. I've always said, to me, it's hard to quantify who is the best player in the sport because you are dependent on the people in front of you, behind you, etc. If you go 3 for 10 in batting, 3 for every 10 at bats, you're in the Hall of Fame, right? We know hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in professional sports. But what Ohtani did last night, not only getting in the 50-50 club, which is just sensational, obviously, the 6 for 6 with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. As Joe Davis said on the call for Fox, it may be the greatest night in baseball history. And it just speaks to Ohtani's power. And a lot like Caitlin Clark, if you will, where she has revolutionized the WNBA. We never really talked WNBA on this podcast until Caitlin Clark came along. There's a reason why I don't talk a lot of regular season baseball because to me it's very hard to follow baseball national wise. There's not a ton of stars. There's not a lot of marketing in your local town, even if you are in a local baseball town like I am here in Cleveland. There's not a lot of urge, in my opinion, to follow baseball as nationally. It's not obviously it's talked about because of that lack of marketing. But I guarantee you today, even on a football day, after a Thursday night game between the Patriots and the Jets, what will lead off most talk shows in America today will be Shohei Ohtani. And that does speak to his drawing power. Again, I go back to, and you could say, well, Brandon, it's a what if, and I understand that. But, if he goes 6 for 6, and every time, and he does hit the 3 home runs, but every time he does do that, he's got nobody on base. Well, that's 6 for 6 with 3 home runs, but it's only 3 RBIs. The fact that he has 10 RBIs is dependent on the person behind him. So there are clearly, in my opinion, better players than not. You talk about your Shohei Ohtani's, your Mike Trouts, your Bryce Harper's, your Aaron Judge's, your Rutschmans, your Jose Ramirez's, your Manny Machado's, your Juan Soto's, your Clayton Kershaw, hitters, pitchers. We could all tell the difference between who's a talented baseball player and who's not, obviously. But I think it's hard to look at a guy and say, that guy does something different than anybody else. Aaron Judge, obviously, the 62 homers, but I go back to because of dimensions and ballparks, how many homers were in on that short porch in right field. I mean, it's not taken away from Aaron Judge, but I think you have to point out that as a fact that he plays the majority of games and hit his majority of home runs that season to that short porch in right field. That's not me being a hater. That's just me being honest. But Shohei Ohtani, when you have 50 home runs, when you go 6 for 6 with 10 RBIs, 3 home runs, when you get 50 stolen bases, Andy, I know you're going to like this. and I know a lot of people in the community that hated me for saying this is going to like what I'm here to say today. That is the fact that Shohei Ohtani, I can no longer deny, is the best player in baseball. Now, the funny thing is, like I said, we've seen Mike Trout be the quote unquote best player in baseball, and he's never made the postseason. So my argument has always been, how can you tell who the best player in baseball is when, the Dodgers and their history. Now, Ohtani may help them get there and get to the World Series. Obviously, they won it in the COVID year, but anything before and after that, they melted down after having all these good teams all these years. How can you tell if you have the best player when, he has a couple bad nights and you face really hot pitching in the postseason and boom, you're gone. So baseball is not like basketball. It's not like football where you have the best player, you have the star, you're gonna win ultimately most of the time. But if you watch that game or you watched any highlights, you could clearly tell who the best player on the diamond last night was. And just watching him, you could just tell that was different, that was special. Again, I thought Fox did a great job elevating, and I think Shohei Ohtani, even more so, if he wasn't in the national spotlight already more, he will be absolutely the talk of sports talk radio today, because what he did last night was better than Barry Bonds' season in 2007, and this will go down as maybe the best season in baseball history. And last night might have been the best night in baseball history. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.